Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Astrologer Podcast. This is Deb McBride, and I welcome you to Sunday, the 12th of July in the year 2020. And I am broadcasting from lovely Costa Rica. And we are really having a hard time out there these days. Everyone is struggling and stressful, and, it's been complicated because of the eclipses. And I really feel like the last few days have been, I think with Mercury stationing and going direct this morning, Eastern time was a good thing, but I think last week after the eclipse, boy, it just, even though it was the weaker of the eclipses, it really just, the energy lingered, and people are struggling and they're having a hard time. And the thing that we have to be mindful of is, how to rise above all of this. And so let's start with Mercury retrograde. Mercury went direct 4:27 a.m. Eastern time this morning, and that was at 5 degrees of Cancer. So the thing is that Mercury's now no longer going backwards or apparent backwards motion from where we stand. And it took a little over 3 weeks for the retrograde. And what we need to keep in mind is that the place where we were in, remember, Mercury was in these places before, the place we were in was where, Mercury went retrograde back on the 18th of June. So it was, a long journey till today. And the place we've been early in June and the end of May is where we want to look back to, because the information that was given to us back then and the information we were working through back then, and it was like the beginning of the eclipse season and all, this is all kind of going out with a bang. And all the information that we had end of May, early June, which was the part of the zodiac where Mercury has come back over again during the retrograde, is definitely, like sort of all coming up out of the ground under the surface. And so I really feel like when there is Mercury retrograde during eclipse periods, they work hand in hand. They're not isolated incidents. And most of all of the astrology, it all works together. It's not an isolated incident. But when we're dealing with something like eclipses, and we have been in eclipse season for a while now, because the first eclipse was the 5th of June, and the last eclipse was just last Sunday, and we are now moving out of the eclipse period. But most of this time, Mercury's been stationing or retrograde, and now it's finally direct. And I really feel like this has been quite a complicated, multi-layered time for many people. So it's not just one thing. It's not they're just dealing with COVID. They're dealing with other stuff. They're dealing with, life stuff, jobs and careers and children and, homes and gardens and, and everything. And so when we're dealing with a little bit of everything, it all overlaps, and it doesn't mean that, everything in our life is related to everything else. It just means maybe that we have to sort of focus our energy in a variety of directions. And, if you have kids and they've got things going on, and then you've got work and there's things going on there, this is all very complicated, and you have to continue to sort of juggle all of this. And we've all been asked to juggle quite a bit. The eclipses, we're in Cancerian season still for, another week or so. And because of that, we're dealing with home and family and ancestral issues and blood ancestry and ancestral wisdom. So when you are dealing with Cancerian issues, those are the places you go to in your life to sort of solve them. You go to the ancestry, you go to the wisdom, you go to what you learned from your parents, you go to what you learned from your grandmother, you go to the wisdom of the ancients, the lineage anywhere in your life, and that could be spiritual lineage. So when Mercury goes direct in the sign of Cancer, so we're dealing with information about our lineage, our ancestry, our family, our roots. And so all these weeks it's been about roots and family and history. And so Mercury is going to be in the sign of Cancer. Now it's still at the beginning of the sign of Cancer, and it'll pick up speed, and it won't really move into Leo till next month in August, when on the 4th it moves into Leo. So we got a few weeks yet. But remember something, that this has all been one big ball of information between Mercury and the eclipses and the aspects, Mars and Mercury together, and then during the time that Mercury started retrograding, Venus went direct and Neptune went retrograde. So it's just too much, and people are really struggling. They're just struggling, and I want to remind people that practitioners like myself are here to help. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to your favorite practitioner. I think that, I'm trying to do the best I can as far as give advice on Instagram every day. I think that my colleagues are doing the same thing. They are reminding people of what's available to them. They're giving webinars. So please don't sit and stew. Look for something you like astrology, like meditation, like yoga, and deep yoga, not just like going to exercise class, like something that's going to get you through this. And reach out to your favorite practitioner. Reach out to something new if you don't have a favorite practitioner. Especially now that Mercury is direct, we can move forward. We can do something different and new and not tread over the same issues over and over again. But Mercury retrograde reminds us of what we might have forgotten, about ourselves, what we might have not assimilated about ourselves or about our roots, about our family, about our ancestry. Something new might come forward. So here we are thinking of what we need to assimilate in order to sort of move forward and nurture ourselves in the best way possible. Because Cancer is a sign of nurturing. So, meanwhile, the sun, as it is in the sign of Cancer, is going to start opposing all of those Capricorn things that we've been talking about for a very long time now. So this time last year, we had an eclipse around the 16th of July, and last year in 2019, and it opposed the Saturn and the Pluto, even though they weren't entirely close together. They were kind of separate at that point. But that was a whopper. I remember that. And it really kind of knocked people for a loop. Because when the sun, our life force, starts to get entangled with these outer planets, it starts bringing up stuff that could be potentially simultaneously empowering and then an epiphany, but also the release of whatever is holding back your power. So the light of the sun this week is going to shine opposite Jupiter and opposite Pluto. And remember that Jupiter and Pluto this is another thing that happened. Jupiter and Pluto just got together on the 30th of June for the second time. Well, Jupiter and Pluto are still very close together. And so this week on Tuesday, the sun is going to oppose Jupiter. The sun in Cancer will oppose Jupiter in Capricorn. Oppositions are about you and another, you and the other side of the table. Who is sitting across from you? What are you working on together? Who's your colleague that you're working side by side with? Who's your partner? What's going on with you and them? And Jupiter is where the light is also. Jupiter is where the abundance is. Jupiter is where the expansion is. Then the sun will oppose Pluto on Wednesday. So this is really, really a lot of energy this week. The sun opposing Jupiter, then the sun opposing Pluto. And since they are both in the sign of Capricorn and they are so close together, they're inevitably going to be intertwined. So remember what I keep saying about Jupiter and Pluto. Jupiter shines the light in Pluto's closet. Now we've got the light of the sun coming in. And if you are doing any inner spirit work right now, this is the time to really provoke it, go within, go deep, dig hard, and get in there and let the light shine. Because this is it. This is where we embrace something that maybe we've forgotten about, maybe something we need another layer of, and another consciousness of. Maybe there are things that you're working with and you're supposed to be working with them at an advanced level at this point, consciousness wise, and you just didn't take the step forward yet. Well, this is the week to do that, because Jupiter and Pluto are incredibly powerful, and now the sun is going to oppose them. And the very first time they conjunct this year, which was April 4th, there was a square not long after that from the sun, which was in Aries, and squaring everything in Capricorn. And now here we are again with the cardinal sign of Cancer, and the sun is in the cardinal sign of Cancer for the rest of this week and into next week, and it will oppose the Jupiter and the Pluto. Let the light shine. What is it telling you? What are you supposed to manifest? Where are you stepping forward? What do you need to do? And what's really happening, right now is, we have to wake up on a certain level and help each other through this. This is a really complicated time, and people are going through it. And it's complicated, and we need to all be there for each other. We have to be in togetherness. We can't be divisive. And I know an election is coming up in the United States, and I know that it's very easy to become divided, but we're all in this world together, first of all. And secondly, we are in this major global shift, end of an era together. And so we have got to be there for each other. And we've got to reach out to one another. So when there are oppositions in the sky, reach out to a friend, reach out to the person across from you. It's the duality. It's the one planet opposite the other planet. And you always have to incorporate something outside of yourself. And it doesn't mean that, I don't mean codependently. I mean reaching for something outside of yourself that represents your power and your empowerment. That's what Jupiter and Pluto are. So as we are moving through this week, tune in and allow the sun, the light of the sun, the life force, to connect to something deeply, deeply powerful in your life. Okay? Something that you absolutely need, you're getting a call to and an answer to. And it's really, really, really important to reach out for your power. Now, this is going to happen now, this week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday morning. Wednesday, it's in the afternoon. Tuesday, 3:58 a.m. Eastern time, the sun will oppose Jupiter. So it's technically an aspect all day. And it's technically becoming an aspect now. So, these aspects that take a few days to come into place, they have the peak at the moment, 3:58 a.m. Eastern time. And then, they continue, but they wane after that 3:58 a.m. time. So, you'll have it all day Tuesday, you'll have it Wednesday. But this is an energetic week. This is a week to grab life by the skin and just live the life and make the leap. There is a leap. And so Pluto, which is going to get the opposition from the sun at 3:08 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. So there's a good 36-hour window between the two, which is not a lot of time considering the sun is going to oppose both of these planets. And that means, between Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to feel the opposition of the two of them. And so this is incredibly powerful. And this is a beautiful time to open the door, open the window, and let in the power, the incredible feeling of, what the light has to bring for you and where you're being shown the way through the darkness. Okay? Everybody has got to get through their darkness and allow the light to shine. We all do. And we've got to help each other. We have to. So we've got to be there for each other. And so the sun is a little busy this week in doing that. But today, earlier this afternoon, Eastern time, the sun was making a very lovely kiss to Neptune, which is about enlightenment and about spirituality and about taking in a very spiritual message or being at peace with oneself, or finding a peaceful spot to go within. And there is a lot of that energy this week. So I advise everyone to please do that. Take your time this week and absorb the light and go within and go deep, deep within, because there's a message there. And whatever you're struggling with, everybody's got something they're struggling with. Outside of the global issue, there's something, just because of where the aspects are. And each of us is, working with something. So whatever it is, I don't know anyone that isn't struggling right now with something. Whatever it is, you have to embrace it, and you have to go in and get it and ask for help if you need it. So that's one of the things. Mercury's direct. Please be patient with Mercury, because just because it's direct doesn't mean that it's like, wait, well, how come the information isn't here? How come we're not communicating? How come it's still confusing? How come yeah. Mercury slows down, goes direct and still slow, and won't really move its degree for a couple of days. So let it do that. Let it move its degree and let it shift into that direct motion, and then it'll get moving. Don't worry. It will move pretty quickly, but by the end of the week it'll definitely be rolling along. But be patient with yourself and others. Be patient if your head still feels thick and confused and like you're spinning. By tomorrow you'll be able to shake it out, I think, and start to connect with your brain again. And the neurons will fire and you will feel like a person again. But there was something you learned. There should be some epiphany this week. I love a good epiphany. There should be something relative to what you've been either struggling with or working on or connecting to or seeing in your meditation, something. And so you really do want to connect with that message. And Mercury is all about messages and communication. So look for the message, look for the epiphany. Maybe you had it already. Maybe there was something at the end of last week as Mercury was going direct, as it was getting ready to move forward. Maybe you've got some message. Maybe there's another layer to it. Listen closely. Pay attention. This week, the moon, today it's in Aries. It was in Aries yesterday when it connected with Mars and connected with Chiron. And Chiron went retrograde a couple days ago. So again, it's that healer, wounded healer, as they say in mythology, the healer that needs to go within. So this is more internal energy that we're working with. Moon will be in Aries till 11:54 a.m., then go void in Aries. That's Eastern time. And then a very short void moon for about an hour and a half or so. And at 1:34 p.m. Eastern time, it goes into Taurus, where it will stay Tuesday and all day Wednesday, and won't go void until 11:21 p.m. Eastern time Wednesday night. Very good. That means we get 2.5 really good days of full void here in this neighborhood of the world. If you're living in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, it might be a different time of day, so you might get a little void in the afternoon or something. But the void mood will not last long. on the 15th to the 16th because it's about 2 hours at 1:19 a.m. on the morning of the 16th in Eastern Time. It will go into the sign of Gemini, where it will stay Thursday, Friday, and it's going to go void Friday afternoon at 5:15 p.m. But most people are finished by their work Eastern Time, and it's okay. That's good. That's, it's just like we're winding down the week, and time to hang out and have a little fun. It doesn't matter, the void moon on a Friday night. That's good. Just watch movies, talk on the phone. It's Gemini. Saturday the 18th, the moon will go into Cancer at 10:24 a.m. So the void is kind of long, and that's Eastern Time, and we'll be in Cancer all day Sunday. Then does something very interesting. It's going to become a new moon at the very end of the sign of Cancer. So this is the second new moon in the sign. Oh, hang on. No, I think I'm wrong. No, I'm right. Second new moon in the sign of Cancer. I'm thinking of the eclipse. The eclipse, not last week's eclipse, the eclipse from the time before, from 3 weeks ago. That was a new moon at 0 degrees Cancer. And this is another new moon at 28 degrees Cancer. So there is the second new moon in the same 4 weeks, the same month. So, and in the same sign. So the fact that we have 2 new moons in the same sign is sort of a beginning and an ending of something. And indeed, this new moon will kick out the eclipse period. Boom, done, finished. But it doesn't do it without talking to Saturn first. So remember, Saturn was in Capricorn earlier in the year. Then it went into Aquarius. And then on July 1st, it went retrograde. Well, it had retrograded before that, but it went back into Capricorn on July 1st. So it's been in Capricorn for the last week and a half. And the degree of Saturn now is late Capricorn. So it's like 28 Capricorn. So this new moon at 1:33 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday the 20th is going to hit Saturn. The moon itself is going to hit Saturn at 1:55 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the sun, which moves more slowly than the moon, will oppose Saturn at 6:27 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can guarantee that Monday is going to be busy, and that we're going to have to do work, but it's very, very interesting because it is the special new moon because it's the second new moon in Cancer, and it is this new moon that is very much kicking out the eclipse period. So pay attention to this. And then remember, Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn have all been close together, but Saturn has now moved back into Capricorn, its own sign. And so the sun and the moon, which are going to be together Monday the 20th, are going to oppose Saturn. So now, remember, I said there's all this light, right, from the sun, going opposite Jupiter, going opposite Pluto. Then the moon is going to join it. And the moon is going to oppose Jupiter, but oppose Pluto, but it'll be doing that all on Monday the 20th. That is one busy day. And so try to plan, hopefully don't crowd your schedule. Allow for things to happen that day because, you might get busy without even realizing it. Don't pack your schedule with something unless you have to like travel or something like that. You really need to do something. It's important to try to not pack your schedule, because things will happen. Stuff's going to emerge. And so the sun and the moon will be each in turn, first the moon, then the sun. So the moon is going to oppose Jupiter, oppose Pluto, and then join the sun, and then oppose Saturn. So the moon is very busy. It's going to be a very busy day. And so the sun opposing Saturn later that into the evening, Eastern Time, is sort of the completion of all of that. And then when we think about how the eclipse period has affected us, it's going to really end with that note of Saturn, which is something's finished, something's over, thank goodness something is finished. So there may have been some really rough patches along this eclipse season, and you might be really exhausted, but by next Monday, you should be done. You should be done about whatever it is. It should be finished for once and for all. You've come to the epiphany. You've gotten the message. You understand the path. You've done the work. And sometimes Saturn will squeeze a little more work out of you. So be aware of this. Remember that there was a new moon eclipse way back in January that conjunct the Saturn-Pluto. Now the sun is going to oppose Pluto and then Saturn. So there may be some information regarding what happened back in January. And so we know that COVID started, we started to hear about it back in the early part of the year. And maybe there'll be some sort of conclusion about it. Or now I didn't say it was over completely, but there might be some information about that. So absolutely. Move forward. And then we're going to move into the sun in Leo later, a week and a half from now, but we're not there yet. We've got to get through the sun opposite Jupiter, the sun opposite Pluto, and these are good epiphany-oriented aspects. So I advise you to do your inner homework, to do some meditation, to do some writing, to visit your favorite practitioner, work with them, and see what you could possibly determine that could be potentially opening doors for you. Where is the light shining in the closet? What part of the closet does the light need to go into? You could be shining the light on the back of the closet and it needs to be shining on the ceiling. Surprise, up on a shelf in the back of the closet. So you'd be surprised. So there's a lot going on these next few days. I am very happy to announce that the eclipse period is going to end next Monday. Frankly, I think this has been an exhausting period. 3 eclipses is a lot of energy, and it just keeps us moving. It's intense. It's nonstop intensity. And so I think all of us need a break. All of us need some rest. All of us need to watch something, a movie or something that makes us laugh. We need to do something that's going to lift our spirits and lift our energy. It's been really complicated. And I can't say, I think everyone's really tired of this whole thing. I think that people welcomed the pause in their lives. Some of us did anyway, opened the door to a pause and liked the feeling of just saying, okay, well, I've just got to stay home and do my thing. And, we have to distance and be isolated. And I think people are tired of it. And I think people are long over it. And yet it persists and people still need to isolate. That means that, remember what I said back months ago, when was the last time in history we were told to go in and stay in? And, you're better off if you stay home, stay in. Okay. Then whatever it is, you have to stay in and figure it out. It means go within. And here is another layer of going within. We're being given this opportunity, and see it as an opportunity, not as a liability. See it as an opportunity to go within this week. Try harder. Move past this stuff, whatever it is. We're all going to move past it because we have to. We have no choice. And helping others is part of it. And if you can get into nature, I don't know how everyone's circumstances are. Obviously, I'm here with a lot of nature, so I'm fortunate. But nature is a real big part of this, because remember, our nature started coming back to life when we all stopped going out. So we definitely are having an effect. That's a proof that we're having an effect on it. And so everybody's got to do their part to help nature in some way, even if it means planting a garden or some vegetables or something. Do something to it. Do something with it. Enjoy it. Be with it. Understand it better. Connect with it. And connect with our source of nature, because even if you don't get a lot of outside time because of the COVID, tend to a plant inside the house. Go online, read a book about botany, do something that is nature oriented. If you're not permitted out so much and you can't spend a lot of time with nature, then read about it. Look at it, bring it into your home, do something and connect with it and listen to what it has to tell you. And let nature be nature as opposed to trying to control it. And so here we are. We're already at the end of the podcast. I can't believe it's been another week. It feels like this week has gone really, really quickly. And there's been an enormous amount of energy flying by. And I wish all of you a beautiful, beautiful week ahead. And this is me, Deb McBride, at the Golden Astrologer Podcast. Please visit my website, thegoldenastrologer.com. Book a session, thegoldenastrologer.com. Book online. Read my blog, Astrologer's Thoughts. Sign up for the mailing list. A couple of things real quick. I'm going to be doing an astrology talk with Monique Long, who is a friend of mine for many years. And she does a meditation every week. So I will be putting that up on my Instagram and be putting that up on my website as well. That's going to be the 23rd, Thursday the 23rd, that evening, Eastern time. So it's going to be, I think, 7:30 to 8:30, and I'll be doing a talk about the astrology of now, and it's free. So I'll be putting a link up to that for you to join on my website, and I'll be telling people about it on my Instagram. But it's a little soon yet because it's like 11 days away, and people will forget. So once we get into it a little further, I'll be announcing it a little more. And if you are interested in a session, like I said, book online, and my Twitter is @DebAstrology. My podcast is here, and where all podcasts are distributed. Thank you for listening, and have a beautiful, beautiful week.